30 years of Napalm Death, is that right?
Yeah, more or less. 31, I think now, or maybe even 32. So time rolls along, as it were. Yeah.
And you look like you've held up quite well.
Yeah, I feel pretty good actually. You know, I look after myself even more than I did. I mean, I've always kind of, but you know, you lapse at certain points. But yeah, I'm right now. I'm pretty fit, man. You know, so and you need to be, you know, for playing as much as we do and the sort of stuff that we do. You know, you gotta have a certain level of stamina or you'd collapse, basically. I think anyway. But
do you do martial arts? You stretching?
No, I mean, all I basically do is like cardiovascular and that sort of thing, you know, just resistance exercise. You know, I'd love to do other stuff. I'd love to be able to say, yeah, I'll do whatever, you know, Taekwondo or something like that, you know. But I haven't got around to it yet. But it's always something for the future. I mean, just to say that, I'm sort of like 43 now, nearly 44, and I think. I think age is irrelevant. If you can make the effort to look after yourself, barring that you get any horrible diseases, then you should be able to sort of be pretty resilient, you know, quite far into your life, I think, you know. So
If
exactly, it's always a big if. Yeah.
15 releases. Is any chance now? A lot of people are doing album-specific tours, like Slayer's has done like Rain in Blood, and Megadeth has doing Rest in Peace. Now they're doing Countdown to Extinction. Is there any particular Napalm Death album that
we'll see? You know, we're quite obstinate. You know, we try to do things that just not jump on the bandwagon and stuff. You know, I mean, it's been suggested to us that we either do Scum or we do Harmony Corruption or this and that, but it's got to feel right for us. It's got to come from us, really. You know, we've got to be the ones to instigate that, not sort of dance to somebody else's tune, you know, because Napalm's always been like that. We do what we feel is the right thing to do. We're always independent minded like that. So I don't know, you know, it's kind of, this is no disrespect to other bands that do it, but for us it would feel a bit sort of choreographed, you know, and we don't want to be choreographed. It's meant to be loose and spontaneous and whatever else, you know.
Theatrical.
Well, not theatrical
band.
Not theatrical. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, it has to have a certain spontaneity to it. I mean, of course we have a set list, yes, but you know, it's not like to the cut of an album. You know, it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, never say never, I suppose. But again, you know, we'd all, as the four members, have to feel that it was a worthwhile thing to do in terms of it just felt right. You know, and something feels right when it doesn't. You know, it's instinctive. So
for sure. Now, you're touring with bands like Dayglow Abortions, Attitude Adjustment, Repulsion, bands who you have covered in the past. Last night was, have you done Wehrmacht?
Yeah, we did. We did Night of Pain, Halloween, you know. So, yeah, we covered that. So yeah, we've done a lot. And, you know, the whole emphasis was for this tour was, I think some of the classic bands get neglected, and we know kind of where we came from, and I think, in my opinion at least, like those bands from the early years were very, very special. You know, if they didn't make the groundwork, then not just this tour but other tours just wouldn't be possible, because let's not forget, at one time, to play so fast and to have vocals that were quite guttural, it was a no-no for most bands. Other people would look at you like, what are you doing, you know? So they paved the way, really. So we wanted to take those bands out, not because we want to see a load of just, you know, people just going through the motions, but because we still feel that they have something to offer to people that would come to our gigs. Because I'm sure the people that I speak for Napalm fans, they would love Attitude Adjustment, you know, Repulsion, Dayglow Abortions, whatever else. Right. It's all kind of around the same mindset, you know. So
you prefer that to some? I mean, I think the last time I saw you was with Devil Driver and 36 Crazy Fist and Straight Line Stitch.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. I mean, that's the thing with Napalm. We've got a foot in a couple of genres, and we seem to have an appreciation across the board. I don't actually know where that came from in the beginning, because we've always did what we felt was the right thing to do. You know, we never tailored ourselves particularly to anybody. And in terms of the more mainstream side of things, which you could say what Devil Driver and that sort of thing is, we never sort of courted that whole scene. It came to us, really, you know. And so, but it's helped us in terms of being able to play to different people. Because if there's one thing I will say, there's no sense in always preaching to the converted, right. Because what are you achieving then? Right. Especially with the kind of ethos that we have as a band, you kind of want a broad spectrum of people to hear it, you know. So, and if we play in front of like mainstream metal crowds, we want them to know that it's not just about coming to the gig, some, you know, corporate sponsored gig, and it just being kind of a little bit of a faceless event, you know. We want to give them the whole ethos and stuff, you know, of
organic,
of humanity, yeah, and the ethos too, you know, the humanity and stuff like that, you know.
That's great. That's what you're well known for now. 7 albums with Russell, 5 with Colin Richardson, and 2 with Digby twiddling the knobs.
No, well, Digby didn't really.
He didn't.
If you, well, you'd have to ask like Mickey about that. Digby put himself down as executive producer. Well, what does executive producer mean? Nothing, really, you know. I mean, you know, I was there when Napalm was doing that, but I wasn't in on the recordings, so I can't say for sure. But I don't know if Digby really produced in the classic sense of the word. You know, I will just leave it at that, you know.
Right. Black Crowes claimed that Rick Rubin did not produce their first album. He put executive producer on the album as it was starting to become popular. Like you were saying,
could happen.
Executive producer, what exactly is it?
I mean, obviously I can't speak for them, but
right.
I can imagine that these sort of things do happen, you know.
If you're of that power, I suppose, to do that,
he holds a lot of
might
power.
as well, you know, take some credit for something.
Well, not only that, album points as well, probably, you know.
That's right. And there's a little business,
not to be
business
cynical,
everything.
Not to be cynical, but you know.